Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
And a very good evening to you and welcome to Newsline. My guest this evening is a retired judge of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. He has also been the Chief Minister of the Northern Province in Sri Lanka, and he is currently a Member of Parliament in Sri Lanka. He is, of course, none other than Mr. C.V. Vigneswaran. Very good evening to you, Mr. Vigneswaran, and welcome to Newsline.
Good evening. Thank you for calling me.
Thank you. Technology is wonderful, isn't it? You're in Jaffna, I'm in London, and the recording is being done in Colombo. How wonderful is that? But Mr. Vigneswaran, as we're delighted to have you on the program. We've tried to have you on the program. The whole country is talking about this economic crisis that we are in, and the IMF agreement, and so on and so forth, and everyone's trying to come out of it. In between all this, the President of Sri Lanka willing to fully implement the 13th Amendment to the Constitution without the police powers. What's stopping you from supporting this move?
Not that I'm being stopped from doing so. In fact, the 13th Amendment is not a solution to the problems of the Tamils of the North and East. It can never be, because of the fact that the Sri Lankan Constitution is unitary, and the majority community having more members of Parliament, they are able to pass any law which is prejudicial to the community which is majority in the North and East. We are majority in the North and East, but we are subjugated because of the majority in Parliament, and that's how the Sinhala-only Act and so on were able to be passed. So the solution that we have been asking for is federalism for a long time. From 1949, we have been asking for federalism. But the 13th Amendment was brought in because of the Indo-Sri Lanka agreement in 1987, where the Tamils did not sign. No members of Parliament on behalf of the Tamils signed it. But India signed on behalf of the Tamils the agreement, where the Sri Lankan government undertook to have the provincial councils installed, and laws were passed accordingly. Of course, Mr. J.R. Jayawardena did not want to show that it was being done for the purpose of trying to solve some of the problems of the North and East. So he extended the provincial council system for the whole island. So there is nothing that stops us from supporting, because it is already there in the Constitution. And we are only wanting it to be fully implemented. That is all we are asking. Not that it is going to be a solution to our problems, but it is at least a stopgap process which would give a certain amount of powers to the people of the North and East, who are at the moment at the mercy of the central government, and they do not have any political power as such. So that is what it all means. So we are in support of the full implementation of the 13th Amendment.
But of course, Mr. Wickramasinghe says that he can't do the police powers unless Parliament and the other parties, in short, are in agreement. And surely there is some sense of frustration on the part of the Tamil people, because it has taken several years in the making. It hasn't been a cakewalk at all. And you will be aware of that. The amount of lives lost, the amount of careers expended on this. You can't accept this and continue to articulate a position for the need to have police powers as well.
No, what you should realize is, right from the beginning, we have been objecting to the Parliament having majority Sinhalese dealing with regard to every matter with regard to the North and East. That had been our problem as far as the political problem is concerned. The Sinhalese decide what the Tamils should do in their own areas. So it's the same thing. Why not have the powers of the people handed over to the people themselves in those areas, rather than bring people from outside and give them that police powers. So in other words, you want to have some sort of a control over this from outside. It is the problem has to be answered by the majority community, not by the minority community. Why do you want to have police powers to the center and not give it to the periphery? Periphery is equally entitled to it in their own areas to have their own people policing them. Why should you have people from outside coming and doing that part? That is why.
Shall we turn the question the other way around? What is the detriment to the Tamil people in the northeast by not having these police powers?
Yes, I'll explain to you. When a complaint is made, most of the policemen in the police stations do not know Tamil language. They would get somebody to give some translation of it, and they will write it in Sinhalese, or they will have it written in Sinhalese and get somebody to translate. The translation is not going to reflect what the people said, because sometimes the translation is quite wrong. So they don't understand sometimes. So now the police force not knowing the language of the people makes all the difference, because there is so much of problems in the courthouses, because they will ask, "Didn't you say this?" He will say, "No, there you are. You have already said this." But what he said was different. What is stated in Sinhalese is different. What is stated in Tamil is different. So cases fail. So you must have people who know the language. If you want to have Sinhalese people, get them all to know Tamil, be very, very conversant in Tamil, and let them be in the police station. But that's not what is happening. We have only Sinhala-speaking policemen, and you are putting the people into a lot of jeopardy, a lot of problems. That is why.
And do you not have provision in existing legislation to make sure that policemen and other public officials conducting their business in the northeast, in predominantly Tamil-speaking areas, to be able to speak fluently in Tamil, a sort of a reversal of the 1956 Sinhala-only policy?
The 16th Amendment provides for it. 16th Amendment to the Constitution provides for it. But the officers are not at all conversant in the language. So what do? We can do nothing about it. We continue with people who do not know. They bring somebody from outside to translate. The whole process is very wrong. So I agree with you. If we can have people who are fully conversant being brought in, that would be better.
Mr. Vigneswaran, are you suspicious of, in any form or in any way, about the intentions of President Wickremesinghe in trying to implement the 13th Amendment? Why is he saying it now then?
Well, my personal view is that he's somehow or the other trying to see that there would be reconciliation forthcoming with regard to the communities in this country. Now, Mr. Wickremesinghe has been 5 times Prime Minister earlier. Now he's President. He's 74 years old. I don't think he is expecting anything more than trying to be a person who had solved the problems of this country before he goes. So in that sense, I personally think that he is genuine with regard to what he wants to do. But he is not allowed to do these things. Even by some of the Tamil politicians are not allowing him. But all the same, he is trying his very best to implement the 13th Amendment. And furthermore, India is also very interested in seeing that the 13th Amendment is implemented, because that was the outcome of an agreement between 2 sovereign states. So therefore, I do not suspect Mr. Wickremesinghe of not being genuine, but I do understand the amount of problems that he has from parliamentarians who do not want him to succeed in what he's wanting to do.
Are you also not contributing to his failure to be able to achieve something by not accepting this 13th Amendment sans the police powers? Surely his life would be easy if you agreed.
No. I have already agreed. In fact, I am the person who has given him a blueprint with regard to what should be done in order to get back some of the powers lost earlier powers lost or have been taken over by the center. And we have given a document to him, and he's fully appreciative of that document. Please do not get me wrong. You must be thinking of other politicians because I'm not in that category. In fact, I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to help him to somehow or the other do something in order to clothe the people of the North and East with some powers, political powers at least. So I'm not in that category who is against him in this matter.
Is it not possible for you, as a person, you just said that you support this move and you want to get on with it? Is it not possible for you to talk with the other lawmakers from the North, Northeast, the Tamil-speaking areas, to persuade them to your line of thinking that let's get on with this and let's lobby and articulate a position for the balance, the police powers, for example, later on?
Well, that is precisely what I'm doing. I have already discussed with some of the other parties. And in fact, because I had been discussing this earlier with others, even Mr. Sambandhan joined us in signing a document to Prime Minister Modi, to the UN High Commissioner, and so on. So, full implementation of the 13th Amendment has been accepted by almost all the Tamil parties. So there is no problem. Of course, the police powers stands in the way, but then we can still go in, as you rightly said, and then discuss further in order to have the police powers given to us as time goes on. But full implementation of the 13th Amendment is almost accepted by all parties, except probably Gajendra Kumar's party, who say do not have the 13th Amendment.
On that note, let's go for a quick break and take a peek at this evening's headline news from the wonderful Newsfirst primetime news team. We are in conversation with retired Supreme Court judge and a member of Parliament, Mr. C.V. Vigneswaran. We'll be right back.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
Farmlands plunge into further crisis as the Udavalava reservoir continues to run out of water. Fresh concerns on who approved cultivations to commence, disregarding forecasts. Sufficient rainfall has not been forecast till October, Department of Meteorology reveals. Is the water crisis a planned attempt to make emergency power purchases? Why were fuel prices hiked when Sinopec's oil shipment arrived? Trade unions cry foul. Employees of the survey department disgruntled as minister evades discussions. State minister chased away by people in Madirigiriya. Niger reopens borders with 5 countries.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
Welcome back to Newsline. I'm in conversation with the retired Supreme Court judge and Chief Minister of the Northern Province, Mr. C.V. Vigneswaran, who's a Member of Parliament. Welcome back, Mr. Vigneswaran. I'd like to ask you, in what other ways can you promote the cause of democracy? For example, in the Yapalani government, you were in favor of, you supported President Sirisena. Mr. Wickremesinghe was the Prime Minister. But one of the fundamental things, one of the elections that we really should be having now would be the Provincial Council elections. It's, I think it's overdue by about 5 years. What are you doing about that? Are you articulating a position to have those elections?
Well, my position is that even if you have the Provincial Council elections, we are having a Provincial Council with having the institution of provincial council, which lacks a lot of powers. Some of the original powers which the provincial councils had been taken away by the center. Let me give you an example. Act number 58 of 1992 now took away the power the provincial council had over the government agent, district secretary, and the Grama Sevaka. Now they came under the provincial administration, but they were taken away by Act number 58 of 1992. Now, so it is necessary that those be handed back. Some of our best schools have been taken over under the pretext of being taken over as national schools. Now that came under the provincial council. So that has to be handed back. So my position is, let us first revitalize the 13th Amendment, bring it back and strengthen it, and then have the election. There is no purpose in having an election now, because the institution of the provincial council at the moment lacks a lot of powers which it originally had. So I'm in favor of the elections being held, but as soon as the strengthening of the provincial council takes place, so that might take a few months. But I have told the president how this could be done by referring to Article 154L and M, and where the president himself could could appoint an advisory committee and take certain steps in order to strengthen the Provincial Council Act, and then come back and have the elections. So I'm fully in favor of the elections being held, but at the moment, if you have the elections, it is going to be in order to bring about a provincial council with a lot of shortcomings. Many of their powers already lost to the center.
Do you not see that this would be frustrating for the people? The people, after all, as you saw during Aragalia, the people were clearly frustrated, and they came out in demonstrating and so on. Don't you think that not holding elections is frustrating for the people? And as a judge of the Supreme Court, you'll know that the people are sovereign.
You have got to look at it in the perspective of the economic crisis that we are undergoing. You can't be talking democracy when there is a tsunami. You cannot be talking about democracy when we are at the brink of a bankruptcy. So there are certain things which need to be done. If you have an election at the moment, there would be what is called like a hung parliament. It will be indecisive. You will have to continue with the stability that has been that is existing at the moment for some more time until our economic position improves, which I think should be improved in another 8 to 12 months, and then you can have the elections. Just for the sake of having elections, if you do that, the consequences of the election would be far worse than what we have now, because there will be indecisiveness, there will be no definite results coming forth, and there will be no party able to take the majority of seats, and therefore our political problems will be, our political ambience would be disturbed, and our stability will be affected. That is why I'm not saying don't have the elections. Stabilize the provincial council and have the elections. That is what I say.
Isn't that sort of saying to the people, look, that the people in parliament would like to hang on to power? Because after all, judging by the people who demonstrated against the existing government, they didn't clearly deliver, and so the people are frustrated. So isn't it sort of saying, well, we'll sort it out? But when you say we'll sort it out, the people continue to suffer. 62% of our working population are sort of daily waged. Only 38% have regular jobs. The economy has contracted by 12%. People say that there are no queues for fuel. Yes, but fuel is rationed and people can't afford to fill up as much as they could because the economy is down by 12%. The tea industry is suffering. Prices are up. Yes. So in terms of money, we're getting more money, but actually our outgoings are also high because freight rates and so on also has gone up in the world. So it's a bit of a misnomer. So aren't you, by not having elections, aren't you further frustrating the people and this reliance on the PTA and so on and putting people away and not permitting demonstrations and so on? How would you view all of this ambience if you were seated in the Supreme Court?
I would ask you a question. Do you think if you have the elections tomorrow, all your problems which you are talking about will be solved? Would be solved overnight? No. You can't do that way. We need stability. We need the means and the expertise to carry on with the problems that we have. We are at the brink of a bankruptcy. But apart from that, you should really be asking me a question with regard to the Provincial Council. From 2018 up to date, nobody wanted the Provincial Council. The Sinhalese people never asked for the provincial councils. They didn't want the elections to be held. It is we who are asking for the provincial councils to be held, the Tamil people, because we have nothing, no powers at all. We are at the mercy of the central government. So your question is, is more relevant with regard to the parliamentary elections and the presidential elections. But even so, the question remains, do you think by having those elections now, you are going to make much of a difference to the country, or would it make it worse? That is my question.
But that question needs to be answered by the people, not by me or you on our own. It is up to the people. After all, the people are sovereign. It is their right.
Very true. Very true. But then we, as observers of how the people react, how they act, would you not be in a position to say that the election results would be like a hung parliament, that it would be indecisive? Surely we know that none of the parties are today in a position to get the majority in any election. So it is the people who have to decide, but it is the people who will be able to elect indecisively how it should be for the future.
When we look at the case of Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, I don't think anyone really expected him to get a thumping majority, especially in the light of the fact that Mr. Rajapaksa, in his capacity as the defense secretary previously, has been accused by various organizations and people of genocide and war crimes, and the wider Rajapaksa family have been accused of corruption, and the corruption in any case was endemic. We also had the bond scam, and surely the people must be given the right to exercise their vote. And when they did, they elected Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Nobody was able to tell what on earth he would do. They weren't able to predict, but at the time, the people thought, well, that's the best thing. And now I suppose the people have a chance to realign and go, but they need to be given the chance.
Yeah. So you're trying to say when we are at the brink of bankruptcy, you try all these things in order to find what the people are saying, and thereafter realign and do various things and let the country go to the dogs. I mean, when there is a stability at the moment, seemingly stability or not, there seems to be a stability. Why not you make use of it and come in and have the elections at the appropriate time? That is my question.
A seeming stability, once again, a sort of mirage, because Sri Lanka is not paying its debts right now. They're still negotiating the repayment of their international sovereign bonds. By the way, the bulk of these international sovereign bonds were taken out in the Palane government and nobody else. And the people, some people wanted the exchange rate floated. Well, yeah, fine. But nobody seems to be talking about the high cost of living. We've now had to import eggs from India because they want to sell it cheaper. But everything has gone up. Everything has gone up. There are people that I know who can't afford to give their children eggs or milk. That's a serious problem. And it's sort of I'm befuddled that our parliament seems unable to understand the frustration of the people.
I agree with you that the people do go through a lot of problems, but are you trying to make the predicament of the country worse by having an election immediately? That is my question. Because if there is indecisiveness with regard to our voters, then there will be even the seeming stability would be not there, and we would be getting into far worse difficulties than what we face today. So let the present people carry on for about a year's time and try to do the best, and then we can go for the elections. Certainly elections are necessary, but the time is not ripe at the moment. And as far as the Provincial Council is concerned, nobody wanted the Provincial Council election so far from 2018. It is we who are asking. We are not clothed with our powers. At least do this with regard to the 13th Amendment. So I don't think my position with regard to a little delayed elections is all that undemocratic, as you say.
Mr. Vigneswaran, I really appreciate your time to debate this issue on Newsline. We've obviously run out of time now, but thank you, and we hope to have you in the studio in a couple of weeks' time when I'm back inside the studio, and we'll be able to do away with the vagaries of technology and the signals that preclude you and I from having a most serious discussion.
Definitely. Thank you very much, even for this half an hour. I enjoyed it very much, and all the best to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's the way it was with Mr. C.V. Vigneswaran, retired Judge of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, former Chief Minister of the Northern Province and Member of Parliament currently. And it's now time for the Primetime News. Have a great evening as much as you can. And as always, God bless you all.